Hey, so I haven't done one of these in a while, and I figured I would grab some stuff out of the forums just because I saw it. This seems to happen all the time when students are rigging, and I think it stems from using the select hierarchy, which I'll get to in a second of what I'm talking about. So let's see here. This rig was put out that the control curves are bending and deforming with the movement of the character. And this happens a lot when people will they'll bind their character by being a little less selective than I think they should be. So if I go to the top here and I just do like a select, whoops, where's the top of this sucker? There we go. So a lot of times people will grab like the top of a rig, and let's say all these joints were under that control rig, and they'll get everything. And what that's going to do is tell Maya that anything that's deformable should get the deformation. So in this case, now when I move this arm, it's going to pull all this geometry. And the reason for that is that this is a deformable object. So a curve, you know, in Maya we just use curves because it's easy and it's nice. We don't have a lot of like specialty items to use as curve controls. It actually works really, really well. If you are not familiar, one of the things I always highly recommend when using curves is that if you're an animator, you need to go up in here and you turn everything off, and then you turn on only curves. That way you're only selecting curves, which is great. You can also use the show menu, and they've changed it on me, but if you do like show none and then turn on just NURBS curves, you know, you'll just see those, and turn on just, where have they moved it? La 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 la, curves and surfaces, it's a polygon. There it is, there you go. So now I'm only going to see like my my curves and my polygons, and that way when I use the select, because of the selection hierarchy, I'm only going to select those curves, which is great. So in any case, that's one thing to be aware of. So what I wanted to do is not just show you how to fix this, but then also show you things to look for when you're debugging. So over here in the channel box on the right side, you know, these are all your channels, we know this. And then below that are inputs that go into those items. So if I select this pull vector control back here, you see it's actually got a lot of history on it, and it really shouldn't. It's a dead curve. It's just there to be as a placeholder, something we can select. And right now it's got a transform geometry on it, it's got a skin cluster on it, it's got a tweak on it, and it's got the original history for making a curve. So I'm going to guess that you're just adding information to this that it doesn't need. So you've got to be a little bit careful, but often what you can do is just select that and just do a edit. I have a hotkey for this. So edit, delete by type, history, right? So now look, check it out. I have nothing in here, no inputs in that. If we open the node editor and graph it, you see I only have what it's supposed to do. This shape here has got nothing coming into it. The control here, which is actually the DAG node, so translate, rotate, scale, and visibility, is going into the pull vector constraint, is going to the IK, which is what we want. So now when I move this, you see that I'm not getting that double transformation weirdness that we are getting before. And you notice that the rig still works. So what's happening is these shape nodes really don't mean anything. They're just, it's literally just there to show you what that curve looks like. So again, our IK control here has skin cluster on it. I'm going to go and actually use my hotkey here and just use the delete history on it. So now I pull it, I'm not going to get double transformation like we were seeing. And I can just go through here and select these guys. And again, sometimes you want to be a little bit careful and look at them. So I look at the spine control, transform, skin cluster, tweak, transform again. I don't know why. Make NURBS circle. This is all a lot of history you don't need. So grab all those, edit, delete history. Bam. Now that it's gone, I can move this. It's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to hazard a guess that a couple other curves, or, you know, sometimes people just accidentally select stuff. That happens. So look, I grab this guy. Whoa. Okay. Not a big deal, but here's another thing that I would absolutely change. So if you look at the structure of a square, when you do a create NURBS, where is it? Blah, 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 curve tools, no, NURBS primitives, square. There we go. Let's just do that. I'm going to drop it in my other outliner here so you can see it. So what that actually is actually 4 curves, and each of those curves has its own history. So that's a lot of extra stuff that you don't need. And watch what happens when I go to select this. I'm actually selecting those curves. I'm not selecting the thing I want, which is actually if I go up one in the arrow and I get this leg control, now I got my pull vector constraint. So for things like that, always, always, always bake these down into a single curve structure. I try to use single curve structures for all my NURBS controls. You could get crazy and do whatever you want, put all sorts of shapes underneath and all sorts of stuff. But honestly, it's just a lot easier if you just use a single. So the easiest way to do that, I didn't mean to go into this as well. I'm going to go into Create Curve Tools, EP Curve Tool, and actually I'm going to make sure that I am set on a linear, right? Cool, cool, cool. Great. Now I'm going to let's take a look here, and I'm just going to hold down X, go boom, 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 right? So now I've got, hit enter. Now I've got a square that is literally a single dag and a single shape, which is what I want. So I'm going to shrink that down. I'm going to freeze its transformations and delete its history. I have these in my hotbox, but they are under Modify, Freeze Transformations, and Edit, Delete by Type History. Great. And I want to replace this here. So I'll just show you how to do that since we're here. So I'm going to take this new one I created, Control Select in the outliner, the one that I'm replacing. And if you go in here, you got Modify, Match Transformations, Match All Transformations. Great, now it's there. I'm going to go in here, just make sure I select it, shrink it down. Again, I'm going to freeze it. I'm going to add it here just so you can see it, make it easier on ourselves. And what I'm going to do is select this and arrow down once to get the curve shape itself. If I open up the node editor, you'll see that's the only item I have here. And now I'm going to Control Select that control, and I'm going to run a quick little mouse script. There, honestly, I don't know if there's any way to do this in the UI. But anyway, it's not a big deal. It's parent-R, which is for relative shape. Whoops, keep it like that. If you're using Mel, this is what it looks like. And what that should do, great, is replace my, take the shape node from below here. So here's that shape node. You notice now in my outliner, this thing no longer identifies as a curve, so it doesn't show me that it's a curve. Interesting, right? Here's that shape node I had before. If I arrow up once, look what I have. I now have it connected to the leg curve. So if I go over here and show shapes, open this up, that shape node for leg control is directly under our leg control, right? See how that works? Pretty cool. So all these guys, we don't need them. Blow it away. Right? So let's go back over here. Look at that control. It's got a curve shape and it's got its leg shape. Or its leg dag. Sorry, dag. So it's translate, rotate, scale. That's the thing that you're going to get. So a thing in Maya that is sort of trips people up is when you go to select something, Maya has what's called context-sensitive selection and control. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, what do I have selected? Oh, I have a NURBS curve selected. What do I want to do? I want to arrow up once and get the dag node. I know that sounds crazy, so hear me out. When I go over this and select it, it's going to jump up to that dag node. If I go over a joint, it's going to go, oh, it's a joint, just select it. Whoops, sorry. Oh, what is going on? Oh, I don't have joints in my selection hierarchy. Sorry, got a little off track. So yeah, so if I go here and select this, it's going to say, oh, that's a joint, give me the joint. If I go over the mesh, which I don't have selected right now, if I go over the mesh, it says, what is it? It's a mesh, go up once. Now the reason for that is so that if I select a curve here and I right click, I'm going to get a menu that's specific to that object. So watch what happens if I select a joint. I'm going to get a menu that's specific to the joint. If I select the mesh, I'm going to get a menu that's explicit to the mesh. And this is all without changing anything. I'm just using my right mouse button. So if I select nothing, you get that one that says select all or something like that. So yeah, so that's what's happening under the hood, and that kind of trips people up. So now take a look. If I go here and select this, I have that pull vector right away. If I select the old one, I have 4 objects selected, and I have to arrow up to get that pull vector so that I can move it, which is not what I want. So we got some movement down here too. I'm going to check out this guy. Same thing, a lot of history there. Delete history. Got some movement on here, bunch of stuff. Delete that history there. Let's see if this guy has any. Nope. Good. No history. No history. If we show just curves, see what we're working with here. I can go in here and just say, bup, 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 Cool. And the one thing I'm also going to throw out there is that when you do have these controls, you know, if there's something that there's not going to be, you know, you might translate. Are you going to translate this? Probably not. So make sure you go and lock and hide the things you don't want. So I have a little button up here just to do that for me. It's going to lock and hide that. Whoops, translate Z as well. There we go. Same thing with my pull vectors. Scaling and rotating aren't going to do anything. So I'm going to grab all those and lock and hide them. I'm going to grab this guy, lock and hide them, because I don't want to see that. You can always bring this stuff back. It's not a big deal. Yeah, this is good. You probably don't want scale on there, so select them both. Lock and hide it. I don't put visibility on controls, so for me, I'm going to go in here and get rid of the visibility. Same thing down here. I'm assuming we have scale and visibility. Get rid of it. Great. Woohoo! You can dance now. Yep. Okay, cool. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. Don't freak out when that sort of stuff happens. You can always fix it. And remember that your outliner is your friend, or sorry, channel box. This is your channel box. Your channel box is your friend. So it's going to show you what your history is in there. YR, what is that? Incidentally, if you ever don't know what a node is, I'll give you one last tip. You can always add it to the node editor here. Now if I hit 5, it's going to tell me what that type of node is. So check it out. When I bring in the mesh here, what I have is here I have the mesh and the transform. That's what these guys are made of. So if I hit 5 again, I'm going to go to no labels, which I've never ever used. If I hit 5 again, it's going to show me the names of those nodes. So this is, does it have a namespace on it? Yeah, so it's namespace object. I don't know why it has a namespace on it. Here's the original shape, and here's the one that's visible. So when you're doing deformers, it always keeps an original shape to pipe into a bunch of deformers, and then to the output shape. That's why you see that. But again, if I hit 5, it's just going to tell me what those objects are. So that thing that I didn't know what it was, layer, now I see it, LYR, is a display layer. So for whatever reason, he has a display layer on here, which is fine. So cool, I hope that was helpful. And if you guys have questions, hit me up. I like problem solving, so give me a problem to solve. All right.